Hi, Jackie. How are you today?
I'm okay, I guess.
Well, I'm so glad that you're in here. This is going to be our second meeting. I do want to just go over our disclosure information again, make sure that you're still aware that everything that you say in here is confidential. I will not be sharing anything with anybody else unless you give me written permission to do so in the form of a release of information, or if you feel like if you express feelings of wanting to hurt yourself or somebody else. I am a mandatory reporter, so I just want to remind you that if you do make
I'm not
statements.
gonna do none of that stuff.
Okay, I just wanted to review it.
Mhm.
So last time we talked a little bit about your home life and you're struggling a little bit with your significant other. We kind of just did an assessment and introduction to the process as well as kind of do some paperwork. We do have a release of information on file for your husband. Is that something you're still comfortable with keeping on file?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So I just want to preface the beginning of this with stating that we will kind of review the interventions. I have some plans that we can go over, and then we're going to evaluate those and then talk a little bit about termination in this process.
And this is gonna tell him that I'm good, that I'm not a no drug addict, that I'm not addicted. This is gonna tell him all that shit because I'm done.
So it's more of a complex issue than me just being able to kind of give you the clear and say she's healthy, she's good, leave her alone. There's obviously some underlying issues too that are there that I want to talk to you about and make sure you have the appropriate resources and tools and support so that moving forward you can kind of begin to address these behaviors. I definitely want to be able to have that open communication with your partner and make sure you guys are on the same page. Um,
Yeah, you know what, Sam? I really think it's a good, for him next time to come with me. So that he can hear right from the horse's mouth that I'm good. I don't have a problem. I mean, he needs to know.
Yes. So I am hearing what you're saying, and I know that's a huge thing for you. And actually, we're going to kind of go over some plans. First of all, I want to identify the problem. So in this meeting and the last one, you're really expressing that it's kind of your husband's views of your prescribed medication taking. That is the issue, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. He thinks the doctor gives me the medicine. I'm on it, it's really bad. And he gives me the medicine, but he just thinks I take it because I don't have any money.
Okay. What are your communication skills with your husband when you guys kind of discuss this issue?
I kind of use it really fast because sometimes it's just really mad because I feel like he's attacking me. He doesn't. I feel like he doesn't value me. That all he sees is the morphine, and that's not who I am. I don't really use it like that. For him to be thinking that I'm some drug addict out there, just like, oh, I'm going on my next, gotta get my next fix. He's the one that don't understand. I mean, really, the one that needs to be here or should be here is him, so that he can understand that the way I take my medicine is because I take it because I really am in pain and not that I'm abusing. I don't take it with alcohol. I don't take more than what I'm supposed to take. I don't take it when I go drive. I don't. I don't take it. You know what? As a matter of fact, Sam, to be completely honest with you, I get 60 pills a month. Okay? That's what my pain management doctor gives me. And ask me at the end of the month, how many pills do I have left?
How many do you have left?
I have about 25 left. About 30 left.
Well, I know that kind of hurts, like you said. I want to validate that experience because you're being prescribed these medications. You feel like you're taking them appropriately. I want you to understand that I do get this. This is an emotional situation, and then it's not just a you issue. It is a family component right now that we kind of need to work towards addressing. And I just want to validate your experience with
I
that.
know why he's like that. I know why he's like that. And I can tell you. And you'll see when he comes next week. His older brother died of heroin.
So there is some family trauma that goes into his beliefs. Jackie, I wanted to propose to you because communication sounds like it is an issue. You're taking, when he comes to you with these issues, you're getting to a very emotional place, and then I'm sure that's causing an emotional response in him as well. Could we do a little bit of role playing to see maybe how next time I'll be your husband, you be you? Can we just address a little bit like if I come at you?
Attack me?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me. let me know how we can kind of work on this together as a role play, and finding healthier mechanisms for talking, not, go from 0 to 100 right away. So let's try to work through this. Remember, I am not your husband. I'm going to kind of be proposing the same idea, and let's work on that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, Jackie, you're taking another pill.
Yeah, I'm taking another pill. I've been taking one since today is Wednesday. Well, I think the last day I took one was like Monday evening, and that's after I walked what 2 miles. I know you told me not to go walking, but I need to go walk. That is my and if my back hurts after walking, I have the medicine. You know I can't take the damn Tylenol, and you know I can't take the damn ibuprofen because of my esophagus. So why are you bitching at me? Because I'm taking another pill.
So I'm going to step back into my regular role as a social worker, and I can see kind of the direction that this is going in. So,
Attack mode, right?
yes, for both
Okay.
of you. So I did come at you. Did that sound kind of like how it usually starts off?
Mhm.
Okay. So I
Mhm.
did come at you from that stance, and immediately you elevated it, which is in turn going to elevate him, and then it's just going to be back and forth. You guys are yelling at each other. So
So then how, Sam, how would I have to be submissive and say to him, oh no, here, honey, I won't take another pill. I don't really need it. I'm just your addict. Is that what you want me to? I can't do that, Sam. I can't do that.
want you to be submissive. I want you to be who you are authentically, but I just also want you to have the understanding that, you know, this discourse, this communication is not always the best method for working through things. And I know it's hard to step outside of this role because, this is how you guys have been communicating on this issue for so long. But let's start the role play over again. And before you respond the way you did, try to think what is an appropriate response. Maybe we can use some different coping skills like education, letting him know, I don't feel comfortable with you addressing me taking this medication the way that I am. I kind of want to just give you some information on how my doctor has.
I have told him all that crap. So what is it going to make a difference now? I mean, I'll do it. I'll role play like you're saying.
Okay. Let's try the role play, and then I have some good interventions that we can maybe address too that can kind of help with that additional piece. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, Jackie, you're taking another pill.
Yes, hon, I'm taking another pill. I'm hurting right now. You know for a fact I can't take no Tylenol. I can't take no Lancets. I'm in a lot of pain. I would really appreciate if you do not judge me and call me out these nasty things because I don't do it to you.
Why are you in pain?
I'm in pain. Why? I mean, are you not the same person that lives with me day in and day out? I'm just asking. But I will tell you, hon, the reason that I'm in pain is because, maybe I have 4 herniated discs, 3 bulging discs, osteoporosis, and wow, chronic pain. Is that enough for you, hon?
So I know you're telling me your medical. I'm gonna pause again and be the social worker. Okay. So I know the relationship and the dynamic at home is a little bit different, but the reason why I was asking you why you were in pain is I know your medical history and I know you do experience a lot of chronic pain, but I'm going more in the direction as did something happen to you that kind of put you in more physical pain, or are you just needing like your walk? You had mentioned that you had a walk and that kind of
Oh, I
triggered.
see where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying. Huh. Okay. Well, okay, so then I'm understanding you saying that I just kind of jumped the gun and didn't give him the benefit of the doubt that he was asking me just to be genuine.
Yeah.
Like he was really. Well, he doesn't act like it. I'm just telling you. I'm just letting you know he doesn't act like that. But if you say that's what he does, and that's the reason he's asking.
I don't want you to think, Jackie, too, that I'm on his side or your side. I just want to give you the tools that are appropriate to make this situation better. So I'm not saying that he's coming at this a certain way or you are. I just want to, kind of being the middleman, being in the middle. I just want you to understand that, there is a different resolve, and it's going to take a long time. It's not just going to be we work on this role play today, and then in the future you guys are going to have the best communication, and you're going to be on top of it. It's going to be this has been basically a lifetime in your relationship of this communication skill, right? So it's going to take a lot to get to a point where it's better. So what I'm asking you to do in this role play situation is just kind of pause, take a break from that emotional, immediate response and think to yourself, what can I say that is going to justify my situation, and maybe validate his concern too? Because obviously you're here to prove a point to him. It's important that you guys work through this issue. Otherwise, you would have already been gone from this relationship, right?
I guess it just makes me really frustrated because it's like I'm always having to prove myself. And now I feel that just to win this fight or just to win this argument or this victory, that I'm the one that has to take the easy road. And I feel like I feel ashamed now. Like even after talking to you, I feel like I feel ashamed, and I don't have a reason to. But this judgment, it's just like now I feel like I can't be me. Like I have to like, oh no, I'm not doing that. And
And I don't want that at all. I don't want that to be how you feel or you to feel like you're not getting what you need here. Because, like I said, this is a larger issue. This is not just, hey, tell my husband I'm good. This is communication skills. I want to propose some other interventions before we move on to the next step, okay? We're kind of running out of time today. Um, I think a good idea for you guys would be some family counseling. So that's an intervention that I'm proposing. I can get you in contact with a few good resources. Obviously, you have to kind of wade the waters with them to figure out if that's going to be the right fit for you and your partner. But I would definitely like to propose that idea to you. Do you feel comfortable with potentially going to some family counseling with him? Because I know you said you would be interested in bringing him in next week, but like long term working with a therapist together, could that be potentially a good idea to work on communication skills? Okay. Well, okay. And then I also want to get him some educational services. So you did say that you were interested in bringing him in next week. So I'm proposing that you do bring him in next week and we can get him some educational services and information on chronic pain patients, the severity of medication use.
I'm even going, okay, as far as my husband talking out there, working with my insurance. I'm getting a pain stimulator, a muscle stimulator. So I don't have to take because it's not like he says, there are times that I can't take that medicine because I have to drive. And then I'm driving in pain and I'm in pain. And it's like, I need the pain to be relieved. And this is a surgical intervention. But I'm willing to do that. But yet, he thinks that I'm just blowing my mind with drugs.
And there is the difference between a DSM-5, which is the book and the resources that we use to diagnose people with pretty much all mental health, behavioral health issues, including addiction. So I think a lot of people, society thinks like right away, like, oh, they're an addict, they're used pills, whatever. So their brain goes to it, especially if he has some trauma around opiate use with losing his brother and stuff. So that makes sense. Yeah, and we can review that information too because per the DSM, I'm not seeing that you meet the categories to have an addiction. So, and I can get that information to him as well because I know that's important to you, but based on the criteria, you don't meet a diagnosis code for that issue. When it comes to your chronic pain, though, if you're working with a chronic pain doctor, then I'm sure that's going to be there as well, but that's not something I have to because that's outside of my scope. But the addiction piece, I can definitely review that. I did want to discuss with you too, evaluating working on this. So we're going to meet next week. We're going to go over some educational services with him. Can I give you some homework between now and when I see you next week? Okay, I'm going to give you the names of some family counselors. Can you please reach out to them, and then we'll discuss next week about you engaging with them.
Okay.
Okay, and then I did want to talk again. I know we mentioned at the beginning we're going to talk a little bit about termination. You know, this is something that I'm glad to, like I said, help you with communication with your husband and give him the information about the diagnosis.
I have a question already. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But why are you talking about termination already when we're not even really? I feel like you're trying to just send me out the door too.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up now because I don't want it to get to a spot where I'm like, okay, we're not going to see you next week. You know, I want to give you the skills and the adequate resources that you will need to use in the future to be able to kind of know, like, hey, this is happening again. I need to contact a family counselor. Or, hey, you know, because the issue that you presented with is really just having that education piece kind of for your husband, for him to understand that you are not struggling with addiction, that you're needing this pain for pain management. And so I want to let you know that is more of a short term goal, whereas the family counseling and long term communication, that can be discussed further with a clinician together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not terminating right now. We're still going to work on this for a couple of weeks, but I just want to let you know that, you know, we're closer to termination than we are working on this issue forever. So I will always be here to support you. And I'm at this agency. These are my business office hours. You can contact me then if you have any questions or if something comes up in the future. But I just want to kind of put it on the plate and let you know that this is something that is foreseeable in the future. Okay, that way you're not left high and dry or felt like you left high and dry. Just bringing it to your attention now so that we can understand it together.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Honestly, when I came to this one, I was kind of frustrated too because I felt like we were having like kids. And honestly, I never thought about it the way you said. I never realized that, he had a brother that died from heroin overdose. I mean, with the needle in his arm, and it was horrible. And he had another one that was in prison because he got into drugs early. So you bringing it out like that, I guess I can see why he's so worried about someone else also having that.
so Jackie, I'm gonna leave you this information. These are some great counselors that I have that I know do a lot of good family work. And then let's schedule them same time next week. Is that okay?
Today, no, because my husband's gonna be coming with me.
Yeah.
And he's working. So can we do it better on Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. So I have an 11 a.m. on Thursday, or I have some afternoon stuff.
Afternoon?
Afternoon? Can we do it here? Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay,
awesome.
we'll see you 3 p.m. next
Thursday.
week.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you,
Jackie.
Sam. Mhm.